I saw online about these group of men that were basically discussing kind of like what they felt their responsibilities were in a relationship. So I'm gonna play that. I'm gonna play that video. Let me know what you think about this.
Yeah, let's get into it.
It's a very interesting conversation because, you know, sometimes it gets a little complex and the lines get blurred. But I do think that personally, as a man, I'll always have the instinct to provide, to protect, to be in a position or work to be in a position to make sure whoever the woman is that I love and care about is safe, comfortable, and in a position, if we do have children, to be the mother that her instincts tell her to be, and to be that comfortably.
I thought that was like an interesting conversation, especially to hear coming from, you know, a man. I love when men talk about what they feel their expectations are for themselves and, you know, in regards to what they want to provide for a woman and even what they feel a woman would expect from them. I'd rather hear it from them actually, because I feel like it's indicative of sort of, their mindset of, you know, what they think about that. But how do you feel about, you know, what he was stating about that?
I think he was very genuine. And I think, you know, it's all about wording for me. So when he said, you know, it's his instinct, that means to me that, you know, that's a good man right there. It's his instinct. It's embedded in him to make sure that a woman feels safe and comfortable. And I'm pretty sure, you know, he'll know what woman to be that man for, you know, to make sure he can provide for her and his family and his children. You know, like I said about that wording, when he said that word instinct, it's an instinct. He'll know which woman to go after, you know. And I love hearing men talk like that, you know, when they speak about what they feel they should do, how they should treat a woman to make sure she's comfortable and safe. Because at the end of the day, a lot of women, we just want to feel safe. And, you know, for him to say that, I think that was major. That was beautiful. The way he spoke and everything, I like that. That was a short clip, but it was really big. That was big. And I agree 100% that I think, you know, it should be a man's instinct to want to protect a woman and to provide for her. But also, I think it's a certain type of woman that a man is going to feel he wants to provide for. And he wants to make sure she's comfortable and safe and she can be, and her instincts can kick in as a nurturer. So I think it's all about, you know, how the woman presents herself to the man and how, you know, he's going to perceive that. Because every man is not treating every woman the same way. That's for sure. But that was a great clip. I like that. What do you think?
Yeah, I especially liked when he talked about the blurred lines. Like he opened up with the blurred lines because it's an interesting dynamic, because what I feel like is, you know, men in this era, they're coming into these spaces where oftentimes women are put in these spaces where they have to be independent. And it's like, you know, we're in this big soft woman era where, you know, men are talking about women that they want to be soft and, you know, they want to see the femininity and maybe not so much of the masculinity. But I always say this, you know, when I'm dating a man, I want a man to make me feel like I can relax into my womanhood. When he talked about blurring the lines, I feel like that has a lot to do with the fact that you're seeing a lot of women in roles that, you know, I'm not going to say that they're garnered by men, but in a lot of roles that I would ultimately say they're kind of being forced to be in, opposed to necessarily making the choice to be in. And that is the one thing that I think that there are a lot of men that miss the mark on. It's not about me not knowing how to, you know, submit to a man, particularly if I were submitting to a husband. It's not about me not knowing how to allow a man to lead. or even being so independent that I come across as somebody that, may not be in need of a man. It has nothing to do with that. What it is about is me being in an environment where I can safely trust and respect and understand that this man is skilled and capable enough to lead. And what he is talking about, the instinct that he has, that's one of the most important things, is that he understands that that is his innate responsibility as a man, and he's stepping into that and acknowledging that that is a responsibility, so he's able to accept that, that's something that he needs to present, to his partner. And at least that's how I felt as a, a single woman. There's a lot of things and a lot of responsibilities that I have that I take on, but if I had the right man, a capable man in a space to step in and relieve me of some of those responsibilities, I would absolutely allow a man to lead, not only in my life but in my household, because I respect the contributions and the significance that a man has. Do you feel that the gender roles have changed? Do you feel that, the responsibilities that he's talking about, do you feel like there's any variations as far as like how sort of women are, today, and, what our expectations are?
There are definitely a lot of blurred lines these days. Me and my cousins, we joke, sometimes about the batch of men that God created lately. It's like he ran out of the old school ingredients. Guys want to lead you, or they want to, make sure that you respect them and they're in charge. But I told a man before, you can't lead me anywhere if you don't know where we're going. You don't even know where you're going in life. You can't lead me anywhere. I'm not going to follow someone who's confused about me or themselves. That's for sure. When he spoke on those blurred lines, there are a lot of women who are not even allowed to be in their soft girl era because they have to be independent. They have to be the ones leading and taking care of things, because it seems like these days a lot of men have gotten real relaxed in that provider role. And they feel like, because now times have changed and women are the ones going out there and getting it, that, women should take care of them. But who says that? A woman could make money and, she can contribute to the household, but ultimately, if a man wants to be in charge and he wants to call himself head honcho, you have to act like that. You have to be a provider, and you have to be the one taking care of things, making sure things get done. And what your woman does should just, complement that. And you should allow her to be comfortable and feel safe, and, to want to be submissive, because I'm not submitting to no man who doesn't give me anything worthy to submit to. I want to be with someone that I respect, and if he's doing what he's supposed to do as a man, providing, he knows where we're going. Yes, and like you said, you can lead me in the relationship and in the household. But if you're confused about anything, and my strength as a person or as a woman is too much for you, and you act a certain way, or I'm not treated a certain way, and I'm not allowed to, just relax and be in my software era, then I'm going to go hard on you, and it's not even going to be a good relationship, because it is a woman's instinct to be a nurturer and, to be the softer of the species. But these days it's kind of like we're not allowed to. How do you feel? Like, do you think, because times have changed, do you think that, that soft girl era is kind of just like over for us? Do you think it's ever going to come back? Are we ever just going to be able to bake cookies and, stay at the house with the kids? Or you think we still got to just continue to get out there and get it?
I still heavily believe in like the soft girl era. I wouldn't necessarily call myself like the soft girl. I don't know that I would identify as the most feminine woman out there. I definitely look feminine, but I don't know if like my behaviors are as feminine. The last person that I personally dated made me feel like the most feminine woman I've ever felt like in my entire life. I was surprised by how much it like sort of dropped my defenses and like put me in a space where I had to kind of rethink like some of the ways that I had been interacting with men. Like he was so much of like he had so much like machismo, and he was like he was a Native American man, and he was like very into his culture, and he was like raised in a space where he like really felt like he wanted to tap into like sort of like that spiritual space where, you know, men and women meet. And he opened up my eyes to like a lot of different things. And I remember like every time I would like go out on a date with him, I would feel so feminine. That was the most feminine that I had ever felt in my entire life. And every date that he ever took me on, every place that he ever took me to, he was always such a gentleman. He would hold my hand when I was walking down the stairs, you know, open and close my doors for me, you know, pull out my chairs. Like he just made me feel so much like a feminine woman. And I remember like at certain points, I was like, I don't even recognize like this person. Like, you know, this, like, I love this new person. So as much as I like don't really identify as a soft era woman, I have to tell you that when a man put me in a space where I was like the softest version of myself, it was the most amazing feeling that I've ever had. So I definitely believe in it. I think it takes the right person to come into your life and sort of like make you feel safe enough and cared for, looked after enough to like kind of relax into that space where, you know, you like, you know, this person's got this, they got me, you know what I'm saying? And I think that that's a beautiful space to be in. And because I've experienced that, you know, if I ever go into a new relationship, it's something that I'm going to be definitely like looking for, you know, in my future partner for sure. How do you feel? Like, I know that people are running wild with this like soft girl era, you know, femininity thing. How do you feel you fit into that? Like, do you think that this is a space that women need to embrace, or, you know, are you like, hey, yeah, this independent woman, you know, role, this is powerful, this is empowering, we need to stay here?
I think we can do both. I think we can be powerful and we can be strong and we can be goal driven and we can just let the world hear us roar as women. But I also think we can be soft and we can be taken care of and we can be catered to and we can be desired and we can be loved and we can accept the love. I think we can do both. I know we're capable of it. I've seen it. You know, I want to do that. Like me, I'm a very independent person, very strong woman, as people say. But you know, like I mentioned before, I am dating someone, and he does very much put me in my soft girl era. And when I'm with him, I feel safe. I feel protected. I get my hand held, my chair's pulled out, the car doors opened, all these sweet things, you know, flowers, words of affirmation, you know, all these sweet things, physical touch, and not even, you know, just stuck on like intimacy type things. I'm talking about physical touch to where just a handheld or rub your shoulder with this person, it feels great because after so much time of being single and, you know, dealing with who I dealt with last, like now I'm doing both. I'm still powerful, strong me, but I'm also able to kind of let that guard down a little bit and be receptive of the affection and the attention, you know, that I'm getting. So I believe in the software era for sure, but I think we can do both. You know, I've known you for a long time, and you're a very strong woman. But you know, sharing that story, like you said about the gentleman you were dating, he sounds very much like a gentleman, and I love that for you. I would love for someone to continue to treat my friend that way because you deserve that because we are strong women and we go out there and get it. That's, you know, that's what we do. But we deserve both. I think I crave both. I want both. I want to be strong and I want to be, you know, independent and do things on my own. But at the same time, I do want a man to make me feel safe, protected, and to let my instincts kick in when it's time to be a nurturer. Because that is what I feel, you know, that women are. We're nurturers. You know, it's just embedded in us. We were put here to take care of others. We were put here to, you know, walk alongside our mate, not behind them, but, you know, on the side. And I think women deserve it. I really do. I strongly believe they deserve both. Now, you know how he said about his instincts in that clip, going back to that. Do you think men have lost sight of being the provider? Do you think that that's still something big for a lot of men to want to be a provider, or do you think they're kind of just out here winging it right now?
I think that men have lost sight of how to be providers, because I feel like in this generation, a lot of men are unfortunately not being raised by their fathers. Or they're not fathers in the homes, or father figures in the homes. And to a certain extent, like, I definitely think that women can be charged with teaching men how to be men and how to treat women, because we are women. But there are certain responsibilities that a man needs to learn, and a certain accountability that men need to learn from another man. And I think that whether that's a natural father, biological father, or a father figure, it's something that's imperative in a man's life. So I feel like the era that we're in, it's not our grandparents' era where the man and woman were together, they were married, together for all these decades, and they raised their families together. Like, we've kind of lost sight of that. There's been a destruction of the nuclear family, and you're seeing a lot of people raise children single, or be in these co-parenting situations. So to answer your question, I think that a lot of men are put in spaces, not at fault of their own, but they're put in spaces where they haven't really quite learned how to embrace certain aspects of manhood or fatherhood. And oftentimes too, if those things are missing from their lives, they often mirror that, in their own lives and in their own communications with the women that they choose for themselves. And so that's a really systemic issue that I think needs to be, concentrated on more frequently. And in our community specifically, we definitely need to start, talking about that and embracing more topics that bring a unity to that.